Dodge this.
One world currency.
The New World Order.
Those are the roots of trouble.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. But I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
And now, welcome to another episode of Down the Rabbit Hole. Here's your host from federaljack.com. It's Popeye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of DTRH. It is September 1st, 2015. That's right, I'm back live after taking a few weeks off. As you know, the past year I've been taking time off here and there to get things done in my personal life. And let me just say this before I get into tonight's broadcast and my guest co-host with me tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it's one of the best things you could possibly do for your health and for your mental well-being and your physical well-being and your perspective on everything is to unplug every once in a while. Get away from Facebook and Twitter. Get away from the internet. Get away from all the doom news that's out there, because that's all it really is just doom nowadays, right? All bad stuff. That's all we constantly hear. It's good to get disconnected from that and get back to nature and get back to connecting and talking to the people you love and spending time with those people. Trust me, it recharges you. So, definitely, we all, as humanity, need to do that more. That's part of the solution to the problem. You know, by being plugged into that fear matrix constantly, you know, it charges you up at that fear energy, even if you don't want it. And that vibrational frequency will affect you, even if you try to emanate love. So it's good to unplug and get back to nature. Get back to just being with your family and, like I said, the people you love. So, yeah, I needed a few weeks off. Anyway, tonight we're going to be going over a few different topics, and I said we. That's right. I have a guest co-host with me tonight. I'm sure if you've paid attention to Facebook or Twitter in the past 20 minutes, you've seen who it is. But if you're not sure, my good friend, my brother, my fellow radio show host here at Truth Frequency. And when I say my brother, I really mean that. Joe is like my brother. Mr. Joe Joseph. Joe, welcome back.
Hey, man. How you feeling?
Recharged.
Sound it.
Yeah, totally. I needed it. Perspective sometimes gets skewered when you're plugged in all the time. So, look, you know as well as I do, sometimes you just have to unplug because life throws, a ton of crap at you.
Yeah, no doubt.
Don't you find that if you embrace that, you find it beneficial to your health a little bit? Like,
yeah, sometimes you have no choice, dude. It's just one of those things where you just have to. And, everybody goes through it. So it's not like we believe me, if I could go through all this kind of stuff and not have to rebroad, it'd be wonderful. But it's just, sometimes it's just not in the cards, if you know what I mean.
Well, we do so many shows that I don't think the listeners hear everything live anyway, and sometimes they don't get a chance to listen to everything in the archive. So hearing Ray Broad, sometimes people hear stuff that they might never have heard.
Right.
So, and they learn from it. So,
hey, the glass is half full.
Right, exactly. There's always a silver lining to it. But yeah, this month I'll be back live pretty much for the most part. I got a ton of guests lined up. I was telling you off air.
Yes.
I have Jim Mars coming on this month.
Say it ain't so.
Yep, James Perloff.
Oh.
And David Politis. Yeah, so I have a bunch of guests coming on this month. Big time authors, all three of them. I'm actually reading all three books at the same time. Because I have to prepare.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, so there's that. It's going to be a fun month for myself and for the listeners.
So, like your speed reading?
Like a mouse.
Yeah, like a boss. Oh, man, you crack me up. I miss those stupid little soundboard clips. I know you.
Oh, don't worry, I have plenty.
Oh, I know. I was listening to you practice.
Yeah, that's the way I figure. You know what? It's the first night back after your hiatus, hibernation, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know. You're fuzzier than you normally are.
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm a little beat. I've been working my butt off for the past 2 weeks. I traveled. I've been traveling a lot this year, doing a lot of road tripping. So I had to go up to Michigan and back, and I had to do a bunch of stuff. So yeah, my body's just beat today, and I had to take some prescribed pain medication from the doctor, which I normally don't take, but I had to take that today because I feel like I got hit by a train. So,
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have some pep in my step, though.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good because we got 2 hours, buddy.
Yes, I know. Well, can we get right into the insanity? Because wow. Well, I was caught unplugged. I still couldn't help but see all the craziness.
Oi.
So let's see. What should we get? Let's get into the shooting thing first. The reporters. How about that? Did you see that? I'm sure you.
Who didn't see that?
I'm sure you did.
Oh God.
A lot of people are saying it's a false flag thing, fake. I haven't looked into it. Honestly, I saw the video. Honestly,
it's shiesty.
I don't know. I don't know any of the shady stuff. I see people a lot of different people pointing stuff out. It is kind of convenient that it was a member of the media that was
little too many coincidences to make the story really plausible. You know what? It's reminiscent of Sandy Hook. You know, because
is it that bad? I haven't looked into it. Is it really?
Yeah, it's reminiscent of that. It really is. And they had a memorial service. I don't even know. Was there a wake? Was there an open casket? Does anybody know anything about this? And why is it so? I mean, was there like people on the ground saying, "Oh, well, let me find out when the wake is and go so I can, maybe put it out that it's for real or something." But no.
How did nobody see him? Did you see his GoPro cam?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I saw the footage from it. I saw the footage from it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I didn't inspect this GoPro camera though. No.
Well, if you actually see that video footage, did you notice that for the first 10 seconds before he opens fire, he's just standing there and he points the gun, and then he drops his hand, and then he picks it back up again. It just nobody saw that. The chick being interviewed didn't.
No, that's my point.
Nope.
This guy, you would notice that
if this guy was fired, months before,
there would have to be some sort of crew. I mean, I doubt it's just the camera woman and the one guy. And even if it is, if somebody pulls a gun, if you're within a 50-foot radius of me, I'm gonna know, even if I'm not looking. I'm sorry, man. There's something about that. And to be right there, point blank, and pull it out and point it and then put it down and put it back up and start shooting. No, no, that's one of those shiesty moments in that footage.
And nobody I get if you were focused on what you were doing, but I don't know. You'd think someone standing 5 feet away from you with a Glock pointed at you, you'd notice, especially if it was a guy that didn't like you and was fired a year before.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. That's
How did he know where they were going to be filming that morning?
That's a good question.
How did he? Since it was a fluff piece, how did they know that? I mean,
Maybe he's a stalker too.
Well, I mean, he had to have somebody. He would have had to have someone inside. That's inside information, like what's going to be going on in the schedule. And I'm pretty.
Maybe he does.
Is flexible. So you know what I mean. Like, what happens if they had a last minute time change or something, and they went from filming that to something else? So how did this guy know that they were going to be there at 6:45 a.m. and how did he know to be in that exact spot? Somebody had to have told him that.
It's all to push a narrative.
Well, I'm just saying. It's just kind of convenient that this guy knew how. I mean,
yeah, and then it's convenient that the dad's an actor too, and is really playing up the whole gun control thing. And we're not going to let this rest. And blah 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 blah. You know, okay, whatever.
Don't blame the person. Blame the gun, because the gun is the one what's responsible. Because if the guy didn't have a gun, he would have used a bat or a knife or a plastic bag.
That's right. And just so everybody understands, and we all understand each other. If anybody comes trying to knock down my door, yeah, they're not going to make it, dude. It's going to be Swiss cheese in a matter of seconds. You know, like ground beef. That's what it's going to end up being. What's left. You know, and I mean, it is what it is. I'm sorry, you're not going to take that away.
I don't know. The whole thing's that's kind of weird. And I didn't even look into what anybody else pointed out. Like I said, I really haven't. I watched the videos a couple.
Well, there's a couple of them, like a different color sleeve and a white skin hand. There was that. They like frame by frame the footage, and it looked like the first shot intentionally missed. Plus, there was a muzzle flash, and on those Glock 17s, when you use a hollow point round, there's no muzzle flash. It's only when you use a blank round you'll get a muzzle flash like that.
Well, let me ask you a question.
And then where's the blood, right?
Let me ask you something. I know people can get shot, but that thing was supposedly a 45, right?
No, it was a Glock 17 9mm.
Oh, it was a 9?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I thought it was a 45. If it was a 9, I guess she could have run away like that.
Totally.
Like,
yeah, I mean, dude, plus, the shock factor.
Well, yeah, because 9 but not with 9 mils, even the hollow points there. Well, hollow points are hollow points, but 9 mils have a tendency to pass right through you.
Right.
And I mean, if they used hollow points, then they wouldn't have. But if they used hollow points, she probably, honestly,
they'd have blended her guts up.
She wouldn't run away the way she did.
No.
If they used, if he was using ball rounds,
right.
Then
FMJ rounds in
it, metal jacket, it would have gone right through her, and you could have had that shock value like a deer.
Sure.
You shoot a deer and it runs for 100 yards and then drops from blood loss. That could have happened. But with the other ones, those are anti-personnel rounds. They're made to inflict the most amount of physical damage to the flesh. Therefore, it overloads the brain, and the brain shuts off due to shock, and you die. That's what it's all about. You have to induce that level of trauma to the body. And that's what those hollow points are for. That's specifically what they're for. So I don't know if she would have been running the way she did if they used if homie was using hollow points.
I'm just saying it doesn't.
She would have got maybe 2-3 feet, dude.
It doesn't add up. And then of course, there was some investigation that found that that's really not her TV. That TV boyfriend is not really her boyfriend. That a lot of people screen captured her Facebook page before it went down, and screen captured that of her boyfriend, her real boyfriend, and it's not the guy that they say it is. And then you look at it, it's like the TV boyfriend. So how much of it is really real? You just don't know.
Well, back in the day, I could have, I could have said, Joe, I'm getting a little echo on your side. See if you can adjust that. Probably there you go. It's gone. Whatever you did. Good man. So anyway, I looked at it and I don't know. It just, this whole thing reeks. And then supposedly someone put a picture on Twitter. I don't know if it's real or not, of them dressed up in makeup for like another news piece or whatever. Supposedly where like the cameraman has like blood on his leg, but it's not really blood. It's makeup. Yeah. And then
they're crisis actors.
Well, yeah. So, the question is, like, I mean, if they've done it in the past, look, we all know TV is so fake now, and Hollywood and all that is so fake. It used to be back in the day where maybe I'd be like, I don't know, because I mean, I don't think everything is faked or whatnot, but it gets to a point where just certain things reek. And I'm usually the one that says, everybody chill out and wait 72 hours. And just from seeing the videos, I have a bunch of questions, and I haven't really even had a chance to look into it. Just from seeing the videos, and I only watched it for like 5 minutes on YouTube one day while I was in the middle of work.
But there you have it. I mean, it's so bad. And well, that's my thing, is that it's so bad. The story doesn't fit what they say, it doesn't fit what you see. So then you have to it's just really sloppy. So that's the thing is what's real and what's not. You just gotta, what the real agenda is. And obviously it's just to stoke division between, gun, anti-gun. Just like you've got the war against cops right now. Now you got people coming out and blowing cops away. I think it was like 2 in 2 days.
Yeah, we talked about this. We said this was going to happen like a year or 2 years ago.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
This is all part of their plan.
Yeah.
And now you'll see them, they'll want to vote a GOP moron in, right? The faux right-wingers are going to be like, let's get a GOP guy in because the Republicans will fix everything because they've ever done it like that before. So I guess just all of a sudden everybody's going to change their MO, but they're going to bring in, a Republican conservative, whatnot. And instead of everybody being pissed off at the police for police brutality, they've totally changed that narrative. Now it's you're either with the police, or if you don't support them, you're a cop killer, or you support cop killers. That's the narrative that's been created.
Exactly. It's not. It's one or the other.
Right. But you notice when all this came about was right about when everybody started going, hey, how come all the cops have MRAPs?
Exactly. Oops. And and now all this is going on. Exactly. And if you take a look at who's doing it, it's all funded. All this stuff is funded by your George Soroses and the people that cause all this divisiveness. I mean, this, just like the Black Lives Matter. Come on. Really? Yeah. Just, that's it. Just that. Right? Well, not everybody.
I actually got into it with a friend of mine over that. And I said to him, I think that it's stupid. I said, all lives are equal. And he's like, and he said to me, it's trying to show that, black people are important too, because they're always getting killed by cops. And I said to him, okay, but you realize that that's just dividing you, because now you're saying, well, black people matter, and people are going to think that only black lives matter. No, we all matter. Okay, it's not about black, white. It's not about race. That's bullshit. It's a red herring. I've said it 1,000 times. Race is a red herring, ladies and gentlemen. We're all one race. We're all human. If you can't understand that on a very simple concept, then you're part of the problem. Okay, humanity needs to grow up and put its big boy pants on and stop it. Because racism is used to control us, and that's what's going on now. You know who I blame for these cops being killed, aside from the people that pulled the trigger? I blame the government, the current, administration, whatever you want to call it, the powers that shouldn't be, and the frigging media for stoking the flames of bullshit racism and creating division where there wasn't any. Well done, but you'll never see them take any of the blame for that. No. They'll blame guns. They'll blame an inanimate object because there's a means to an end, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up, smell the coffee, and see what's going on. It's as simple as that. And unplugging will help you. If you unplug for 72 hours and come back and look at everything with a fresh set of eyes, well, wow, will you be amazed?
Ain't no doubt about it.
For real.
For schnizzle.
Dude, they're creating this. We've been saying this for over a year now that they were going to do this.
Oh, and it's only going to intensify.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what happened today with the the stock market. Down 470. It doesn't take rocket scientists to go down get locked into the room and you're not coming out until you figure out fusion. It's not. No, this is what they do. Everybody says, oh, but the market is cyclical. You see, this is the way it is. No, it's only cyclical because they want it to be cyclical.
Oh, by the way, speaking of the market, didn't when the first right before when the Chinese stock market was crashing like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and whenever the hell it was, and then our market took a shit in 30 seconds afterwards. Wasn't North Korea getting all uppity and pounding its chest? But where's North Korea now? Oh, was that a distraction?
Mm-hmm. And let's not also forget that China owns a lot of the United States. People don't realize it, but they do. They're heavily invested in the stock market. Hence the reason why you see China start to go down. They devalue their currency. Oh, first chemical plant explodes. Okay. That's just their safety sucks over there. And then next thing you know, boom, second chemical plant explodes. Wow, their safety really sucks over there. Shoot.
Can I just say it's not a rod of God?
No, there's no need of that.
Thank you, Natural News.
Yeah, the rod of God. Anyway, so, and then, of course, our stock market starts to tank soon after theirs. Now, they own a lot of stock, the Chinese, the people, and the government. So what do? They start selling. Whoop. And now you have this downturn where they've had to invoke this Rule 48 now 4 times in the past, week? And they only did it one other time in the entire history of the stock exchange. So 4 times in the last week, they've had to invoke that Rule 48.
Don't worry about it, Joe.
There's nothing to see here.
Everything is ops normal. The government loves you.
The fundamentals of the economy are sound.
Isn't that what they said right before the bottom dropped out?
Yeah, it was like, but of course, you felt it because right before the bottom dropped out, it was $4 a gallon for gas. So everybody knew that it was coming. It's crazy. Absolutely nuts. But it was $4 a gallon. Everybody was suffering. You knew that was going to on the economy, and it did. And then the floor fell out of it. And that's when remember when the oil went down to a gallon of gas went down to $1. It was right after Obama got elected. And then the bottom fell out of the stock market, and it dropped. That's when Lehman Brothers happened, all that crap, Oh, it's crazy. All in around that time. And it's happening again, dude.
You know what I saw gas for the other day?
I got it for $1.96 the other day.
I was going to say $1.98 in Tennessee. I was like, what? It's like $2.30.
And by the way, I'm not doing this to rub it in the nose of all you listening over in the UK that pay $10 a quart. Because, that's it, Nordy boy, $11. Ugh.
You can thank Queen Reptile for that.
Yeah. Now over here it's $1.96 a gallon, which by the way, even today, by American standards, that sucks. I mean, it just does. Especially now more than ever with wages as low as they are. I mean, but overseas, oh man, I don't know how you guys do it. Honestly, between that and VAT, ugh. Yeah, I mean,
dude, all I got to say is 99 cents after 9/11, remember?
Oh, yeah?
99, and it went down to 96. I think it was in the high 80s in some places. 80 cents or 90 cents per gallon for gas. What changed? Oh, the speculation is what changed.
That's what changed. Yeah, the speculation. I speculate it's going to be this. Well, look, we get raked over the coals because we speculate about things too. But, can we rake them over the coals now? They're doing what we do, right? They're speculating. I speculate there's going to be an oil shortage in the next 6 months. Oh, so because you do, I guess that just makes it real.
Ugh. And then they place bets on it going up, and they buy futures, and it's all a game, dude. The whole stock market, everything attached to it, oil price, it's all bullshit.
It's like my old buddy Griff used to say, Popeye, what's a dollar? What is a dollar?
It's a piece of cloth, Griff, with some ink on it.
Kev Baker's giving me all sorts of heck right now. He said, F you and your gas. We have haggis and the rod of God.
Oh, God. Yeah, Scotland's the reason why. There's a new conspiracy theory. Scotland attacked China with their rod of God from Loch Ness.
Yeah.
Nessie powers it.
They use
CERN to take Nessie's energy and transfer it to the rod of God in outer space, and that's what they attacked China with.
She is the key to pulling energy from the vacuum, and it was all due to Kev Baker's quantum equations. Quantum Kev solved the problem.
It's Quantum Kev's fault that they used the rod of God. I'm sorry. It's just there was an article, for people that don't know, there was an article saying that it was like the rod of God, a satellite-based weapon that was used to hit China. Like, guys, stop it. Stop it. Like, no one's like, something obviously happened. They obviously blew that thing up with something. There was explosives of some sort used. Whether it was conventional mini nukes, something went off and they're really bad.
Oh, by the way, Kev has one last message for you. He says, tell the beard I love him and hate him.
Aw. Thank you, Kev. I know that comes from very deep inside your
absolutely
haggis-filled heart. Right here.
He doesn't even have to be here to derail a broadcast. Just
No,
so
that's okay. Right here on TFR, ladies and gentlemen, where I just don't care because it's my first day back live.
That's right.
In like 2.5, 3 weeks. It's nice to be able to just relax and talk about all the craziness, dude, for real. If you can't laugh about some of this stuff, then what are we going to do? Cry? Because it's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's like nothing to fear, dude.
No, whatever.
It is what it is. It's going to happen. You do your best to try to inform people so that we stop it. And I'll tell you, I think that there's a lot of people that are starting to understand that things aren't the way they appear to be. Hence the reason why you see a lot of animosity and people starting to say, all these candidates suck. I don't know. A lot of people just pissed off. I like it.
Yeah, people are starting to wake up, Joe. They're starting to see what's going on. They have no choice. It's getting so crazy, dude. Like you have.
But I mean, 2 times short. I'm telling you, they're about to pull something off, and I just feel it.
Well, we can change things. Just remember, we're in charge of our own destiny and our own futures, ladies and gentlemen, not them. Stay tuned. We'll be back 3 short minutes. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Joe, I'm going to switch gears. I want to get into something a little bit more serious.
Sure.
Something that I was recently taught a couple months back. The ever-lovable Christina Consolo, a.k.a. Rad Chick, who teaches me new things on a daily basis, taught me a little thing about something that's called the Wigner Effect. Now, I'm only going to give it a glossing over here tonight, but you should all go to her YouTube channel. Rad Chick. Just look her up on YouTube. You can't miss her. Just type in Rad Chick channel. It'll bring up the channel and you can click on it and subscribe. And she did a series with Lorraine Murray and this huge interview she did with her about Wigner, the Wigner effect, and what I'm about to talk about a little bit. And it gets more in detail, and she shows different cases to evidence to back up what they're both talking about and discussing. And this is something that's been known since they started doing nuke testing. So anyway, and I can't remember the name of the doctor. His last name was Wigner, but I can't remember exactly. Hence the the Wigner.
Did you say Wigner or Wigner?
Well, I guess that's how you'd say it if you had the German accent, or like Wigner. But I think it was Wigner. Anyway, I can't remember his first name, but he studied, basically it's like what radiation does to metal and things like that, like the structure of how it's affected on a molecular level by radiation. And what happens is radiation actually causes everything across the scale. Everything. The human body, building materials like concrete or steel, it breaks down. Okay, now obviously we know some of the effects of what it does to the human body, but I bet you a lot of people don't realize that it affects metal, causes early metal fatigue. You have it, it can affect concrete, other building materials. So she told me about this, and at first I was like, come on, because you could have planes falling out of the sky, you could have Ferris wheels breaking, you could have like construction sites collapsing and things like that. And that's what she was telling me, and I was like, well,
is it that dramatic? Well,
yes, because what it'll do is it'll weaken the metal, and then the metal just, once it reaches its fatigue point, boom, it just snaps, and then there's some catastrophic failure. So she was telling me all this stuff, and I was like, and she said, look, there's accidents, and she showed me evidence. Not that I didn't believe her, but I was just like, okay. But as soon as Christina opened my eyes to it, all of a sudden, like, I started noticing that there's accidents at amusement parks where stuff is just snapping. In France, there was one of these bungee things, right, with those thick-ass cables where you're in that round little cage, and they take you up and they slingshot you back and forth in the thing. Well, one of those steel cables snapped.
Dude, what a ride, huh?
Right. Well, and it looked crazy. And a lot of this stuff is starting to happen. So I'm paying attention. There's Ferris wheels breaking. And it doesn't have to affect the entire structure at once. It only has to, you only need one small thing to break to have a catastrophic failure. So usually it's like a 50-cent part that breaks and kills, 150 people.
I was going to say, normally it's some of those shady friggin' carnivals, those roving carnivals.
Well, okay, now that's a perfect example. Picture one of those roving carnivals, right? And picture that they already don't take care of their crap. Now picture because there's higher levels of radiation, not only from all the atomic weapons testing, but Fukushima and or there could be, numerous other things that could cause it. But let's say Fukushima itself, right? Just that, plus all the radiation in the air from bomb testing over the years. That could, the effect that has on metal, it's aging it much faster. I mean, when you understand this and then you start to go look at our infrastructure, you're like, wow. You have to wonder how much of that is natural progression and how much of it has been sped up by the exposure to this radiation over.
Yeah, the collapsing bridges.
Yeah,
like the one in Minnesota. Remember that one? It collapsed right into the river there.
Just boom.
Yeah, out of nowhere. And of course, the bridge maintenance is probably sorely lacking. There's no doubt about it. But you're right. How much of that radiation actually contributes to that? I don't know.
Well,
is that even measured?
That's what this Wigner effect is really like. It and Christina is the one that's brought it to the forefront, like because this studying was done by them on the effects that nuke or radiation had on building materials and stuff back in like the 50s during the time of the nuke testing, heyday. They know this. They've known this for like 50 or 60 years. So I mean, there has to be something going. There's a correlation when you look. I started paying attention just, I guess, in the back of my head, looking, like noticing things. And just since she told me about it, I've noticed plane crashes, helicopter crashes. I mean, dude, Coast Guard choppers going down, Marine Corps Ospreys, which, okay, they crash because they're known to kill Marines, but still.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, I know. But still. One of those went down. Small planes are crashing. Big planes are crashing. There was a stunt plane the other day that was doing a stunt, and the tail ripped off, and the guy in the middle of the guy doing the stunt, and it crashed, and he was killed.
Wow!
Death at an air show, I think in New York or something. There was a crash at an air show in the UK. Like you start to see this, you're like, holy crap! And it's always structural failure. Something.
So here's a question: does solar radiation apply for that as well?
If it's high levels, I believe it could.
Because think about what just the sun does to material. Say like plastic. If you have plastic exposed to sunlight over time, it dulls it and then it makes it brittle. And then eventually, it just falls apart. So it's interesting because, the sun does a lot of that too. And consequently, our magnetic field is at its weakest that it's been in a long time. And so you have that component of it as well. That's, I think, compounding issues.
Well, even if it's not the only one, it's like force multipliers.
No, that's what I'm saying. We're being bombarded.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Dude, it's ridiculous. And then not only does it affect like building materials, but then radiation, they also know that radiation affects the mental stability of people. It literally can like cause no impulse control, things like that.
What?
Yeah, bits of like bouts of anger, fits of rage and stuff like that. And what do you see a lot on airplanes all of a sudden in the past couple of years? The best thing to do is to go back and look like 6 years. So you have two clean control years in the beginning to go off of before Fukushima. And then post Fukushima, look at all the crazy stuff that's going on. Look at planes crashing and things. Dude, today alone, within the past like 2 or 3 days, the stunt plane tail ripped off. There was a construction collapse, construction site collapse. And there was something else I tweeted to Christina about.
And where are they located?
All over this is the part. This is the scary part. It's all over the world. Not only is it here in the United States, I mean, it's all over the United States, but you also have it all over the world. You have to remember, Fukushima is putting this huge plume of radiation into the atmosphere, and jets flying through this stuff.
You said concrete, it weakens concrete, right?
It weakens all that stuff.
Okay, so what's the sarcophagus around Chernobyl? What's that made out of?
Oh yeah, it's breaking down. They need to make a new one.
Oh,
That's
not good.
Yeah, I don't think people realize this. Okay, and this again, credit goes to Christina because she's the one that like would sit and listen to me pick her brain for hours, and just she's the one that really has given me the in-depth education onto the things that I didn't understand. No containers, none can hold radiation. They don't have anything on the planet currently that can hold it in without breaking down over the course of time, including all those containers that are holding all of that radioactive water in the tank farm over at Fukushima, which, oh, by the way, there's a spike in radiation. It was like, I think she said it was like 400 and something becquerels, and now it's up to like 40,000 becquerels over the course of like 3 days. So something is leaking over
Is that it?
Yeah, something's leaking over at the Fukushima.
My microwave puts out more than that. Come on.
Yeah, well, that's what that's what most Americans would think. I mean, they don't even understand.
Exactly. They don't have any. Dude, because how are you supposed to know?
Here, it's real.
You know what I mean?
It's well, you have to do the research, but it's real simple. Just look at what's going on the West Coast. And by the way, if they wanted to know what was going on the West Coast, again, to quote Christina, test the effing plankton, unquote. Okay? If you test the plankton, they've known since the 50s. Another thing that they did research on, and I talked about this on a show, where they've known that it bioaccumulates in plankton like 1,000 times what it normally does and other things. And what eats plankton? A lot of the sea life. So what happens if they're eating irradiated...
Like radiated plankton? Well, then like tuna have their eyeballs falling out.
Oh, but what do you see happening to whales and sea life?
Oh, their eyeballs are falling out.
Oh, so what did Christina say? Oh, that's right.
She said that specifically, quote, this is to quote Rad Chick herself, quote, their eyeballs will fall out, unquote.
Well, dude, seriously. She called this a very long time ago. Mm-hmm. She said that I've made mention of it. I've talked about this before. Loren Murray has. All these different people have, Kevin Blanche, all these different activists have come out, and all the other Fukushima activists who I haven't named, Ms. Milky, everybody.
Dude, it's an extinction level event.
Yeah, but
it really is.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
No,
it scares the living shit.
It's slowly killing the planet. That's what it is. Among other things too, dude. Because like I said, Chernobyl hasn't gone away.
Well, no, that's ongoing too. I mean, at least the Russians put a lid on it. The Japanese, I hope people realize Fukushima is still melting down.
It's still melting out
as
in
we're talking.
The air. At least the Russians, when they did it, they went right to work, dude. A lot of people died going in there trying to clean that up. I mean, thousands upon thousands of people died.
Yeah, there were Russian firefighters that knew they were going to die, but they did it anyway to save the rest of the country and perhaps the world from.
Yeah, but I mean, like TEPCO it's run by the Japanese mafia. I mean, that's what it is. It's like trash. It's like the trash companies in New York, dude. The sanitation companies. That's all mafia run.
It's Yakuza, dude.
Yeah.
You know what they're doing? If you owe the Yakuza a debt, you know who the cleanup workers are? They're homeless. And they're taking people that owe the Yakuza debts, and they go just round them up, and they bring them and say, you're going to go work at Fukushima now.
Yeah, you're going to go clean up. Enjoy.
That's what's going on right now. I mean, that's the level of insanity going on as 3 of these things are melting down. But yet everybody gives a crap about what's on television or, oh my God, this matters and that matters. Now everybody keep paying attention to the stuff that's not going to matter because guess what? Radiation doesn't care if you're black, white, red, yellow with pink polka dots. It'll kill you.
But it can make you have pink polka dots, I'm sure, over time.
And a horn too, probably. Perhaps grow a set of wings. I mean, it's really disturbing what they're doing to the planet. It really is. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not being doom. Oh my God, we're all going to die. Look, we're all going to die one day anyway.
Dude, I was just going to say it.
Like, don't be just let that shit go.
Exactly. Let it go. Let it go.
For real. We all die anyway. So it's not how you die. It's how you live, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to be kicking and screaming against the New World Order's BS until the day I leave this place. And you should all too. And that'll change the outcome of things, by the way. We are the masters of our own destiny. See, they get us to believe that they're in charge and that we have no control over stuff. So then you're literally, in your head, handing over the control of your reality to them. That's not how I roll. Wrong answer.
I'm still wondering if if we do this right, maybe maybe I could be like the second coming of the Hulk. What do you think?
Well, that would be kind of interesting.
That'd be really cool.
The only problem is
I'm only saying that because Frank Castle's been posting a lot of freaking Marvel superheroes lately.
Can I ask a question? And I've always wondered this. How is it that the Hulk's pants irradiate as well and they grow?
No, just his waist. If you notice, like his pants always rip. So he's always got like the cut off shorts after that. And then, but surprisingly, his waist size doesn't change or anything like that, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like somehow the pants rip, but like, and even if he's like 3 times the size of Ben,
Yeah, it still fits.
yeah, somehow it still fits. Like he's got like stretchy pants or something.
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
I know. Here I am ruining comic book them. I'll stop.
Damn you.
I like the Hulk, so I like the Hulk. I like when the Hulk was. I actually kind of like
Bill Bixby. As a matter of fact, my kids, that's the one I let them watch. You know, that's if they want to watch something like that, one of the series they watch is the old, like we grew up with.
when he was
Incredible
walking
Hulk.
with the stick. He's all sad in the beginning,
Yep.
and it's like the depressing. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, with the freaking strings in the background.
Yeah.
That 70s freaking yeah.
He's walking all sad, and
And that's Lou Ferrigno, dude. I mean, come on.
He's
It doesn't get much better than Lou Ferrigno.
He's still around, I think.
Oh yeah.
I know Lyle Izato's dead because all the steroids, but I think Ferrigno's still around.
Ferrigno's still around.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he's got a gym on Long Island.
Wow. Oh, speaking of gyms and people getting in trouble, Superfly Snuka used to have a wrestling gym in Parsippany, New Jersey.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, but one of the towns I used to work in, I used to go in and I chatted with Superfly a few times. He was took a little one too many chair shots to the head. Apparently, he just got arrested for murder like 30 some odd years ago.
32 years ago. Yeah.
There's that.
And he'd already settled on this. He'd already settled out of, I don't know, out of court or something like that. Because from what I know, everybody suspected of it, but I guess there was never enough evidence to prove it. For whatever reason, he didn't get criminally charged, but civilly, he paid for it. So I don't know why they kept pressing 32 years later. I don't know if there was some new evidence, but
I understand you want justice, but I mean, what are you going to do with someone that's 73?
put him in jail, and he can make, like I said, he can make furniture for 25 cents an hour.
That's probably what they'll do to him, and then break it over his own head.
Yep.
He'll make a chair, and then he'll have one of his.
Yeah, that's awesome.
With it.
He probably couldn't lift it over his head right now. Have you seen a recent picture of him? Oh, he looks horrible.
No, well, I saw him live in person the last time about 10 years ago, right before I moved to Florida, and I was like, "Oof, Superfly, you made Superfly no more."
Yeah, I mean, he's lived hard.
Dude, he took a couple chair shots to the head.
A couple?
I know. You remember back when wrestling actually used to like bend the chairs over each other's head?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He took one too many to the new.
Not to mention the fact he's flying off the top rope every time, too,
Well, yeah. How many times do you think he smashed his frontal lobe into the mat? You can only do that so many times before you get yourself brain damage.
He's definitely got Dane Bramage.
Yeah, well, that's one way to damage your brain. Anyway, yeah, I know. Side issue, not really important. I just thought it was interesting. I log on today, and I'm like, that's the first thing I see. Superfly Snuka, and I'm like, really? Really, Snuka? Doesn't surprise me, though. What was the one with Natalie Wood? Was it Robert Wagner? He's the one that Natalie Wood took a dump.
Oh, yeah. That was years and years ago.
Yeah, and why was Christopher Walken on the boat? What was he doing there? That's still never really been addressed.
It was just kind of like he was the guy there. I don't know. But he's weird like that. You know what I mean? He's got that weird, even outside of Hollywood, like just him himself. He's just a weird guy.
Yeah, he is. He's cool. I mean, it's just, I wonder.
No doubt. But I mean, it's kind of, I could have been sleeping. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, not really important. I just thought I would derail us for 5 minutes and kind of see that's how you can get through the doom tottery, ladies and gentlemen. All the doom news, right? I can tell you the truth about Fukushima and Wigner. And again, go look all that stuff up. Listen to the shows I've done with Loren and Christina, and she will be on. Christina will be back on with me to talk about a lot of this different stuff, and Wigner and a bunch of other stuff.
So, out of curiosity,
Yes.
what the hell would you do about it? What could we do about it at this point?
Well, the only thing you really can do is try to figure out how to prolong the life of stuff in that type of environment. And that goes for all of us. I mean, everything from building materials to the human body. We now have to learn that, like, people, when you say Fukushima, if they even know what it is,
right?
Okay, that's the first thing. If they actually know what it is, they say, oh, but they stopped that. That's over. They cleaned that up. No. Chernobyl's not even cleaned up.
No, Popeye. The solution to pollution is dilution.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what they say. Except, I guess, in the case of the Pacific Ocean, where the whole Pacific Ocean is becoming irradiated and now things are mutating and starfish are melting and sea life is dying. But hey, that's got nothing to do with radiation. Test the effing plankton, geniuses. I don't know how many times I could repeat that one. You know what, ladies?
Well, if they did that, then people would know.
You know what I want? I want everybody to go out and Twitter bomb right now. Go on Twitter. Everybody that's got Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, sign up and make a friggin' account. Okay? And I want everybody to go on Twitter. You can include me in it if you want, at DTRH_Popeye. Right? If you, whatever, you don't have to. But I want everybody to tweet. This is what I want everybody to tweet. I want everybody to go on and type in test the plankton. Or you can type in test the effing plankton. And then just type in hashtag Pacific Coast die-offs, hashtag Fukushima, and tweet that out for me. Twitter storm that for the next hour or two. And do that on Facebook too. Meme makers, go out there, and everybody, people need to start paying attention. Hello, the West Coast is like the canary in the coal mine. All this other stuff is ancillary bullshit. It's not going to matter when everybody's dying of cancer. You're not going to care if someone's black, white, red, purple. You'll realize all of that. You're not focusing on what's important, and that divides us, people. And right now, we don't need to be divided. We need to come together and deal with that mess. As I've said before, that's why I think the elites kind of fear Fukushima to a large degree. Not because of its potential to kill humans. You know they love that. No. Quite contraire.
Oh, yeah.
I personally believe that they're afraid that would actually unify us, Joe.
Hey, man, what did you want me to Twitter bomb again?
Yeah, type in test the effing plankton. And then hashtag Pacific Coast die-off, hashtag Fukushima. And just Twitter bomb the hell out of that, ladies and gentlemen.
Pacific Coast die-off.
And hashtag Fukushima, if it'll fit.
Hashtag Fukushima.
In your best King of the Hill impression, Hank.
Yeah, I got that. Thanks. No, Fukushima. Okay, I got that. It's Fuka, right?
It's Fuku, so Fuku, like
that's what it is.
Which is kind of ironic. Fukushima, Fu. That's pretty much what they're doing to the whole world. So, yeah.
Tweeted.
Thank you. Twitter storm that one, ladies and gentlemen. And just, and not once. People try to do it as many times as you can. Try to get involved more. Try to explain this more. Try to talk about it more. The whole point is to bring attention to it. Look, there's no point in running and hiding from it. You can stick your head in the sand and go, la, 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 I don't want to talk about radiation in Fukushima because it scares me because it can shorten life. But guess what? It's still going to affect you. So how about we all be adults and we deal with it? For real. Like, let's all be adults and deal with it. And you know what? If it actually brings everybody together because they realize, wow, we could all die of radiation. It doesn't matter what nationality I am or what culture I belong to, what color my skin is or what I believe in, whatever deity I choose to worship, whatever religion I practice. That none of that matters. Oh my God, we're all human. We can all die from radiation. Wait, we're all what? What are we, Joe? We're all humans?
Yeah. Oh.
Is that my car?
Yeah. You can't be bad. Well, why are you trying to push that? That's not, they can't have that. So just be careful. You might want to check your car later.
Yeah, I know.
Because you're pushing a very dangerous narrative for them.
Yeah. Well, somebody just mentioned, Nordy just mentioned Dane Whittington. It's not the chemtrails. A lot of people are like, oh, the chemtrails are what's causing the Pacific Coast die-off. No. I don't do not believe.
Well, okay, but now let's not have tunnel vision. Could it possibly contribute to it?
No, it could be.
Could have some effect.
It could, but honestly, I don't think that.
It's not probably the a numero uno.
Here's the reason why. They've been chemtrailing and spraying for a very long time, and this just started to happen within the past 4 years. So,
it's very easily documented. You know what I mean? Because you can go out and you can measure these elements and everything else. So it's not hard.
I'm not saying it's not a force multiplier.
No, but I'm saying it's easier to quantify than chemtrail spray. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard to quantify that, but it's very easy to quantify cesium. You know what I mean? And stuff like that.
Especially when it's the one thing that they won't talk about. You know, it's like the third rail that nobody. How come they're not testing any?
Because it doesn't exist unless you observe it. I mean, come on, you know quantum physics.
But they're not testing. They're not even testing them for radiation. I mean, you got to wonder, why would you not test them for radiation exposure?
Because it's not there. We haven't observed it yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they haven't observed it yet. Well, if they turn the meters on, maybe they'd observe it.
The tuna have, though.
I think that they know. They're just not saying, obviously. So,
well, the tuna have, and their eyeballs melted when they did, so it's bad.
And by the way, Nordy, I wasn't, just so Nordy doesn't think I didn't want you to think I was like, poo-pooing on your comment in the chat. I appreciate it. Chemtrails are I guess you could, or I hate using that word. Aerial spraying could be somewhat of a force multiplier, but I honestly don't think that's what's happening. I think it's the irradiated seawater from Fukushima. Like starfish are melting, and they use the seawater. They breathe it like it comes in and through their systems. It's like blood, right? So they're getting. I said this to Christina the last time we talked about Fukushima. We did the strict Fukushima broadcast, her and I did back in March. And I said, it's like the starfish are getting chemo. And she agreed. She's like, I never thought about it that way. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. That's crazy. Like, and people are swimming in that. And that rainwater gets picked up and, eventually turns into rain, or the seawater eventually turns into rain. And some of that particulate can get carried up into the rainwater and then carried inland. And then if they are spraying, here's where it's a force multiplier. If they are manipulating the weather, which we know they are, say they use the jet stream and they're manipulating the jet stream, and as they're moving the jet stream around, because radioactive particles like water, yeah, what happens? What happens when they run the jet stream through that radiation plume, or a radiation plume coming over from Fukushima at any given time? And they drag that thing down into the Midwest, or over to the Northeast, or into the Southeast. I mean, that's a reality of what's going on. So yeah, there's where you're spraying. It can be a force multiplier. All right, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We will be right back. 3 short minutes. Do not go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with hour number 2 here on tonight's live edition of Down the Rabbit Hole. I am your host, Popeye, of federaljack.com, popeyeradio.com, and of course my YouTube archive channel, DTRH Radio Archives, Delta Tango Romeo Hotel Radio Archives, over on YouTube. Go check it out. Back with hour number 2, first night back live in a couple weeks. A little tired, a little bit in pain, but I am muscling through it because it was time for me to come back on air. I missed all of you. I actually really do miss chatting with all of you. It's kind of fun. Sometimes it can be stressful when you're doing this like all the time, nonstop. But it's definitely fun. It's nice to be able to reach out and chat with all of you and connect with all of you on a more human level. So I'm always myself, and I'm always honest with you guys on air. I'm actually very much the same person on air as I am in real life. Well, in real life, I'm probably a little bit cooler. But yeah, anyway, I digress. So I think Joe's back with me. Are you back with me, Joe? No, he's still probably hiding off in the corner, getting his coffee, doing his thing. So I have a few things. I know Joe wants to get into a few things. I have a few things I want to talk about as well, second hour. But before we get into it, I really want to stress that I know that everybody's kind of bugged out right now with all the crazy stuff that's going on, and some of the stuff that I talk about, even some of the stuff I talked about tonight. It's scary stuff, but we can't live in that fear frequency. We can't live in that fear vibe. Everybody needs to calm down. take a step back, do a walk around of the situation, assess, and then go from there. Don't be afraid. I know a lot of this stuff is scary. I don't like I don't like putting that vibe of fear out. So I try to discuss this really horrific stuff in a manner that is relaxing, calming, but to the point. I don't sugarcoat it. And it is scary, but I don't want you to be afraid. As I've said to you before, look, Fukushima is a very scary thing. What's going on is very scary, but we're all going to die one day, right?
Maybe.
So maybe we should just kind of...
Speak for yourself. I'm getting the implant.
Yeah, okay. You can tell he's back from getting his coffee. He's all wired up.
Woo!
Just telling everybody to not be afraid of this stuff. And like, no matter what, no matter how dark it gets, everybody needs to just realize that, look, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Okay, for real. It's as simply put as that. Death is just a transition into a different part of life. If as long as you can get rid of that fear, you can actually truly start living, and then you can truly start making a difference. I mean, if you think you make a difference now, imagine if you lost that fear of the inevitable anyway, something that you have no control over. I think that's why people as humans fear it so much, is because there's no control over it. You know what I mean? So people need to, and I don't want to, maybe people need to is the wrong way of phrasing it. Humanity just needs to realize that simple truth. And then if we can get rid of that fear of death is what's used to control us constantly by the powers that shouldn't be. And it also keeps us from looking into things. Fear is very
exploring
powerful.
Spirituality, everything, yeah.
Yeah, dude, it'll hold you down. And I don't mean to sound all preachy and everything. It's just this is the epiphanies I've had over the years. And I know we talk about some really negative stuff. And I just want everybody to realize one of the reasons I can talk about this stuff very straight-faced but very calmly is because I know that none of us make it out of this world alive. It's the one thing we all have in common. None of us make it out of this game alive, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
So it's how we live on this planet. What we do. Just remember that. Anyway, Joe, the craziness. What the F?
Okay, have you been following the chemical plant explosions and all that stuff?
Yeah. Why?
I can't help but bring that back up.
Go ahead.
Don't you think it's a coinky dink that 3 in 2 weeks?
No. You know how I feel about coincidences. So there's that.
Well, there's that, and then this, right? So apparently Putin's targeting the U.S. monetary system, teaming with China in an aim to eliminate the U.S. dollar and the euro from trade. Basically, what a lot of people are saying now is it is the Rothschild banking system versus the BRICS banking system, like in a steel cage match. And of course, we're the strong arm of the Rothschild. So, just saying, there could be a little shenanigans going on.
Well, I think there's currency warfare going on. I think that
absolutely.
And then I think that.
Do you think it's like a warning shot across the bow?
Well,
I'm not saying that even if it's an operative, right? Even if it's an operative that went and planted explosives, it doesn't matter. It happened. It could be bad safety protocol, but still.
They would probably use a Chinese national who was on the payroll of the CIA,
right?
Or something like that.
Right, or
like a dissident, a quote-unquote dissident.
Or Tesla's death ray. Come on, let's be real.
Yeah, it was the rod of God.
Not the rod of God. That's my thing, dude. I understand the allure of, these kinetic weapons and railgun technology and things like that. But there's technology out there they possess now that makes these kinetic weapons totally and completely obsolete. I mean, I guess if you want to do something locally, you could. But, when you have weapons that can, cause major earthquakes and things like that, what the hell do you care about a rail gun? You know what I mean? You just shake the snot out of them. That's my thing.
I just, It's just, dude, some of that stuff is just like put out there as disinformation. It's kind of frustrating. That's why I made the comment about rods of God before. Look, rail guns do exist, but they're
Sure.
actually, from what I've seen, they use them more as defense. Well, except on ships. I have heard that they want to put them on Abrams tanks. So I've seen them more as defensive type weapons, but I could see them wanting to put them on a tank.
And no doubt they would mess some stuff up.
Oh.
But I'm just saying that's an awful lot because those things take a huge power source and all that. That's an awful lot.
But who makes that power source, Joe? Would it be Raytheon?
Shh. Military industrial complex.
Didn't Eisenhower say something about that?
Yeah, they sure did. He did. A lot of people sounded the alarm about that. But here we are.
What did Smedley say? I'm nothing but a bully for the United Fruit Company.
That's right. And yeah, he was tired of being a puppet. And boy, they pegged him wrong.
What? Right? He totally like pulled the rug out from underneath their plan to overthrow country back in the 30s. Not that Roosevelt was a great president, but still, that's besides the point.
Yeah, this according to RT. Listen to this. Russian President Vladimir Putin has drafted a bill that aims to eliminate the U.S. dollar and the euro from trade between CIS countries. Now, this means the creation of a single financial market between Russia, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and other countries of the former Soviet Union. So basically, he's going to eliminate the dollar and the euro from trade between those countries. I don't know. I mean, what percentage of global trade is that?
Yeah, China has all of our debt.
And but think about this. They own, in reality, a very small portion of our debt, quote unquote. Not that it's small, but they have about $2 trillion or so out of the 18 or so trillion. You know who's the number one debt holder? Us. We are. I think it's like 11 or 12 trillion dollars the public owns, because they've just raped and pillaged the Social Security fund and all that kind of crap. It's all,
Yeah, I like when they say that, when they talk about the global economy, and they go, well, the world owes. But who does the world owe? Jupiter?
Or something.
Who did Earth borrow money from?
Yeah, who's the galactic loan shark?
You want to talk about the Illuminati? I mean, you want to talk about the banks running things? Maybe it's the intergalactic banks that actually run things. Really? The world owes. You bankers and your bullshit debts are ridiculous.
What was the name of the construction aliens that came by and blew up the Earth on Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? I think that's who it is, because they're coming.
Dude.
I'm telling you. We're here. It's September. I think they're going to destroy the Earth and make a transgalactic highway.
Probably. The world owes. Well, hold on. Again. What? Ugh. And what is debt? What is it? What is interest? Ugh. Don't even get me started.
What's money?
Oh, but nothing.
Exactly. When are we going to get over this? Okay, so here's the thing, right? Obviously, they don't want free energy, because free energy, especially now more than ever, would be a free humanity moment. If you don't have to pay for energy, that definitely alleviates a lot of the pressures on people and gets you out from underneath the jackboot. But more importantly, on a scientific standpoint, and I only get this because Quantum Kev has really been educating me a lot on that there science stuff. So I'm like getting really educated. And we are very close to unlocking energy to matter conversion. We have already got 3D printers that do a lot, but energy to matter conversion has always been like that next free humanity moment, because like you can always have that replicator that can then make food and make anything else you need. So at that point, money's obsolete. And consequently, the control, I would imagine. So we could be close, but they foment a lot of this stuff to make it seem like we're not. Like we're more on the brink of destruction when we may not be. You know what I mean?
Well, when I did shows about quantum physics, I postulated, because they were talking about transporting, which is pretty much what you're talking about. One of the things you can do if you started playing around with that kind of technology that you're talking about, that could lead to that. And if you could map the human body out, because they said that, you could, theoretically, you could have two rooms, and you'd have one where you dematerialize, and the other room where you rematerialize, kind of like Star Trek. Well, it would build a perfect, you would be scanned, and you would be, every piece of your DNA would be cataloged. So when you were rebuilt, you would be rebuilt completely and properly. When you were rematerialized. Now, can you imagine if they could do that and then isolate, like if you had cancer or some other disease, they could isolate those cells that make that up and erase it like bad code and fix you like that. Boom.
Ooh.
Imagine that.
Dude. I mean, it's close. That's what I'm saying. I mean, we've seen in the we have seen in the media a lot of talk about them unlocking the immortality gene or whatever it was, and even like I think it was the London Guardian that even came out with an article that said, have we seen the last generation of death? I don't know. I'm thinking that you can't prevent all death, as much as you can do DNA. I mean, people do have accidents, but if you start doing that and nobody dies, then what happens? The planet will become, that's an unsustainable path. We'll put it that way, unless you have a way off.
I don't think immortality is actually a reality.
No, I don't either.
Everything eventually runs its course. I mean, even the Anunnaki, by now, if you believe the stories, Enlil and Enki and all them would be dead. I mean, they were already, I think, almost like 900 years old or something at the time. So, and however they age, everything even if you believe in aliens, they would have to physically, everything has a cycle, like a life cycle. I don't care if you try to extend it. The only way you could possibly try to extend it is if you took your consciousness out of one physical body and put it in another.
Ooh, like a quantum computer.
Yeah, like going from one car to the next as a driver.
Yeah, I need a new model. Yeah, it would get kind of old.
I wonder if that's what they're going to do with David Rockefeller. How many hearts has that guy had? Apparently
5.
Like 4 or 5, right?
Yeah.
What dude? Who had to die for him to stay alive? And if he's only 100 years old,
Probably teenagers,
So-
I would assume.
he's only 100 years old, right? And he's had 5 hearts. That's like an average of 1 every 20 years. You think he's that evil that it would wear his heart out? I do.
Dude, he's 99 years old. Now, let me say this. Okay, anybody out there that, grandpa needs a heart transplant or a double bypass or whatever, and they're over a certain age, I mean, they're making decisions now to where, if you're over a certain age, you don't qualify for a triple bypass. You may need it, may have the technology for it, but they're not going to give it to you because you're too old. Meaning, not that you wouldn't survive the surgery, but you're too old. We would rather put those resources to use on somebody else that's more productive.
Unless you're David Rockefeller.
Unless you're David Rockefeller, and 5 hearts later, and 99 years old, having a heart transplant. Come on, dude. Now, you want to talk about somebody that's just like, hey, the guy looks like Pizza the Hut. Basically at this point. I mean, he's got to be, it's got to have colostomy bag and all that. Come on.
He does. The only thing he's mastering is not crapping on himself when they change the bag.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean,
And I'm
the
not making
dude
fun of
literally is
anybody.
melting before our eyes.
And I'm not making fun of anybody that has a colostomy bag. I'm just saying he's not in charge anymore.
No, well,
No,
I mean, he may have a
is.
teenage brain or teenage heart, but that's about it.
You can't do a brain transplant yet.
Unless he's maybe he's sleeping in the Michael Jackson oxygen chamber, to
He's with the Elephant Man.
shh. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'd think if anybody possesses anti-aging technology, it would be David Rockefeller. You would think because, Rockefeller Foundation was so pivotal in so many advancements of medicine and extermination techniques. Did I say that?
Somebody should just cut the power to his house while they're in the middle of doing it. Because I think they did it at his private residence, so they should just...
Yeah, he's got his own, hospital there.
Yeah, they should just cut the power. Oops. He's probably got his own generating unit somewhere. He's probably got his own like
nuke plant. He's got a cold fusion reactor down in his basement.
Well, the best thing that could happen to him, I won't say it. I was going to say it could leak. We'd all be affected by it, but at least they probably wouldn't be affected by it because they're all reptiles, so they probably feed off the radiation.
It probably, yeah, that's right.
Like little Godzillas. These people.
But I mean, that just goes to show, just how asinine it is. But it also goes to show if that technology existed, you'd think that they would be using it, and they're not. You'd think that Mr. Frog, Henry Kissinger, would be revitalized, or even Zbigniew. Look at him. I mean, you want to talk about somebody with scales? I mean, there he is.
Dude, they can only hide their inner evil so much before it just oozes out. And the older they get, the less they can hide it, and aging takes a rapid effect on them. Look at Kissinger. Kissinger, when he stands next to Obama, they look like the number 10.
Oh, my brother just said Jade Helm got extended.
Oh, till when?
I don't know.
I don't know. I saw 2 Blackhawks when I was in Michigan the other day come tearing over where I was. A couple 100 feet up.
Really?
Yeah. Broad daylight, too. Not given an F. For real.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, that's nice. And the only airport around there is this tiny little residential airport. And we saw a military plane. I think it was a day or two before. Yeah, it was like a day or two before. It headed in the same direction. So it had to have landed at that small airport. Like, what are they doing over there? Makes you wonder. I didn't get a chance to go over and check it out because I was busy doing a bazillion other things. But that really needed to be taken care of. And were more important. But other than that, I saw two weird bits of military activity in the past week. You know what's funny, though? All the time I've been on the road, there's only one thing that I saw that was like, and it was a tractor-trailer load of helicopters. They were Blackhawks, and they were on the back of trucks, and it was at night. It was the only thing that I was like, and they weren't military trucks. They were private contractor, like civilian contractors. So that was the only thing that was a little like, I know they transport them, so, I was just like, But everything else I've seen didn't really make me wonder. A couple Humvees here or there. Nothing that would make me be like Jade Helm, martial law, anything like that. I haven't seen trains with Bradley fighting vehicles on them. Which, by the way, you're going to see that because they brought a lot of those back from Iraq. So, just saying.
Yeah.
I think the whole Jade Helm thing, Joe, is a psychological operation.
It's totally. It's just a conditioning. You
you and I have talked about this on air before. I totally think it's a psyop.
Yep. And because think about it, on the grand scheme of things, not a lot of people. Not at all. And to be honest with you, I would be more concerned with the divide and conquer tactics that are going on, a la these, police executions and the social justice movement that's happening. So that's where I would be really worried if, here in the country. And then, of course, the economy, because that hasn't even begun to play out yet. Baltic Dry Index has basically showed that global trade is collapsing. So, come on. It's just a matter of time before things really get real. And of course, the people that are going to feel it most are the ones that are invested in that system. Yeah,
well, I don't have stocks. I know it affects you in different ways.
It does. It affects everybody. But now think about this. If global trade breaks down, meaning that, countries start to ditch the dollar, or that ends up being a bone of contention where you have to start renegotiating trade. And in the meantime, all that starts to break down. Well, the transfer of goods stop. We import a lot of produce. So the United States would be heavy hit with that. food. You'd start to have food shortages and things like that. That's not to say that it would necessarily happen, but it's a risk. The nice thing about the United States, dude, is the fact that, again, if we live within our means, we could actually get by with the natural resources that we have here. Just us personally.
Grow your own food.
Grow your own food.
Here's the solution, ladies and gentlemen. Psst. Psst.
I mean, at least augment. You could augment at the very least, That's what they did in World War II.
How about community gardens?
Sure.
How about
co-ops?
How about if it caused people to start to rely on themselves again and take personal responsibility?
But that's what that does, because now all of a sudden that safety net's no longer there. The culture of convenience is no longer there. It's either you do that or you're not going to survive. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I mean? Because it forces people to be responsible for themselves.
Yeah, but
survival of the fittest.
That's the key, Joe. That's one of the biggest solutions. Actually, that's like the overall umbrella solution is taking personal responsibility, and everything else kind of stems from that. Changing the way you think, changing the way you act.
Yeah.
Actually being in line with your actions. Having your thought, emotion, and action all being one. Oh, back to the Matrix show I did. It's amazing how that stuff keeps popping up, isn't it, Joe?
It is. Very interesting.
That's why I tell people don't be afraid of all the stuff that's going on. Look, a lot of the news is a distraction, and they focus on, there's shootings.
Sometimes even manufactured a la green screen and whatnot.
Oh, that's true. And look, there's a lot of shootings and muggings and murders and stuff that happen every day.
Sure.
But you got to wonder, why is it certain times that they focus on something? What else is going on that they don't want you to be paying attention to? That's what you should be questioning. And all the stuff dying in the Pacific Coast, you should question that too.
Yeah, maybe.
Just saying. That's a bit more important than a few of the other things that people are arguing about.
But Popeye, I can go about my daily life and nothing changes. Everything's fine. Go back to sleep.
For now.
Until you have that cantaloupe growing out of the side of your head.
Well, I think that's one of the major things is it takes such a period of time. And it's more of like a time bomb thing than anything else. I think people expect to see a la our conversation of the Hulk, quick, massive changes like that. And it can happen depending on the amount of radiation. But the cumulative, how's that word go? Cumulative. There you go.
Cumulative.
I got it out of my lips today, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, at least you didn't go like aluminium,
Exactly.
Like Kev.
The cumulative effects of the radiation are really one of the largest problems. I mean,
right. Well, case in point, maybe after the break we can talk a little bit more about the radiation, because Fukushima is not the only type of radiation out there that's a threat.
X-rays.
Oh man, there's all sorts of stuff that you use every day that everybody's got one.
Oh, dude, there's a ton of stuff that people have no idea. What about all the DU that they turn into household objects like frying pans?
Yeah, because it's nonstick, baby, and it cooks your food for you without a heat source.
Yeah, exactly. The new DU frying pan, you can take it camping.
Yeah,
no campfire needed. The radioactivity coming off of the thing will cook your food for you in 5.5 minutes, or you're guaranteed your money back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back. 3 short minutes. Stay tuned. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Final segment of tonight's live edition of DTRH. Remember, you can always go over to PopeyeRadio.com, download all my archives for free. You can go to Truth Frequency Radio. All my archives are over there. Subscribe to Truth Frequency's archive section. Show them some love. Show my other radio show host friends some love. They put a lot of energy into what they do. They really, really, really do. None of them get paid for it. I know I don't. So just show the network a little bit of love. Show the guys and the gals here a little bit of love for what they do. Get a cheap subscription to Truth Frequency. You can download everybody's shows, high quality. And then if you right. There you go, Jonah's sound effects. And if you want if you want my stuff, you can go to PopeyeRadio.com as well. All of my stuff I've ever done is there. And DTRH Radio Archives. That's DTRH Radio Archives over on YouTube. So, Joe, you wanted to discuss radiation again.
Yeah, but before we do that, I just wanted to Thank you. I just had, I feel better now. Now, yeah, radiation. Okay. So the other thing, you know, it's not just like we talked about solar radiation, and that, of course, is increasing. You've got exposure to man-made radiation in copious amounts now all over the globe. Not to mention the fact, you know, everybody talks about, oh God, what if North Korea or China or Russia detonates an EMP weapon over the United States? Well, that might not be too good, because if there's one thing that I've learned, the electric companies and these power plants are not exactly the most hardened of facilities and the most hardened infrastructure out there. As a matter of fact, your cell phone most likely is hardened against EMP. However, our electrical grid is not.
You know, that's actually one of the things in this video game. I think it's called Homeland or something like that.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that just pushed the narrative a little more, right?
It's like, I don't know, 5-6 years old. It's a Homefront. That's what it's called, I think, Homefront. And the United States is attacked by North Korea. They hit us with an EMP. And because of the EMP blast, like, most of the power in the country is pretty much taken out, including in the Midwest, like along like where what the hell is the name? The New Madrid line, like all along the Midwest, going up like through Tennessee, Kentucky, all that Mississippi, Alabama is all contaminated along like the Mississippi River and around it because of the nuke plants around there. That since the power went out, there was no way to cool all the plants and all the fuel rods and everything, and poof. So in the video game, they even talk about that. Predictive programming, perhaps?
You think?
Makes one wonder.
It does make one wonder.
Just saying. And you're right. That's a huge problem. Dude, Christina and I have had epic conversations about this. Like, where you think about it and you're like, oh my God. I think there's like 100 plants or something in this country. No.
There's quite a few. Put it this way. It's like if there's a loss, it doesn't matter. If there's a loss of power to any of these for an extended period of time, just think about the spent fuel pools in this country are not only over capacity, but they also have like these concrete sarcophaguses out in most of these power plants that house the overflow, because they've got no way to get rid of all this crap, you know? So here's a sobering thought. Yeah.
Sobering thought. My number was off by about 5. 105 reactor facilities.
Oh, is that it?
But wait, hold on. There's more. Yeah, wait, there's more.
Uh-oh.
Behind door number 2, you have college campuses. I was just notified that college campuses also have their own reactors, you know, because like they're testing and training the next generation of these scientists. So
particle accelerators as well.
Because they actually have their own small result, and they have particle accelerators, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's very, very well. Carry on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's no security either. Good point. No security at all. Period.
No, but that's the thing. You know,
you have like the security.
Harden our electrical grid against EMP would cost $2 billion. $2 billion to harden our electrical grid against EMP. Yet we don't do it. Why? I mean, it's a pittance, really, in the grand scheme of things.
Well, it kind of makes you wonder if they have something that,
we give Israel $5 billion in aid, if not more, a year, and we can't harden our freaking electrical grid?
Yeah, but dude, you got to wonder if our electrical grid went down, wouldn't it affect them too? So what do they have as a backup?
What do they have? Who knows, dude? I mean, seriously, their own reactors that are hardened.
I don't know. Reactor. I don't know why people are so in love with nuke technology.
You just love it.
Like Einstein said, it's a really stupid way to boil water.
Yeah, it is. It's the dumbest way. But
really, not intelligent design. And then we put them on fault lines. What's up with that? Like, you can't tell me that these people don't want to take humanity out.
Okay, so remember Star Trek 3? Do you remember that? Search for
Star Trek 3 search.
Okay, do you remember what happens? The self-destruct, you know, when the Klingons go on board and they're like, oh, the only thing that's speaking is this computer. It's counting down, and then the freaking Enterprise explodes, and they die in a fiery crash, right?
Right.
Well, that's the same thing as the Enterprise self-destruct, you see, because that's all they've got to do. And then next thing you know, that's their planetary self-destruct mechanism.
Yeah, but you got to wonder if these people are smart enough to realize that they're, like I said to you earlier.
No, they have a Stargate where they can go to Mars and.
Well,
and
they
live.
must, because sobering thought, radiation there's nothing that like can contain it. So if there's nothing that can contain the radiation, that means there's also nothing that can stop it from penetrating it and effing you up inside said container. In fact, it just makes the radiation's job easier. You being inside.
I was going to say it's like a microwave oven, right?
Yes.
That's cool.
So
maybe that's a solution to our problem.
Yeah, the solution to pollution is dilution. Sure.
Or radiating David Rockefeller in his bunker.
It's just insane. And then that's why, like, I'm against the Iran nuke deal, not because I'm worried about Iran nuking. I love how everybody's,
it's
my
because
God, Iran's going to nuke us, Joe. You've heard of nukes? So Japan and all the bomb testing we did back.
Did you just say Japan?
Yeah, Fukushima. What?
Oh, I thought you said Japan. I'm sorry.
Well,
Thought your inner Jew was coming out.
no.
Sorry.
Joe's always got to throw the one.
Well, you said, you're against the Iran thing. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Oi!
It has nothing to do with me. Yeah, I'm a scientist.
Oi, is it humid out there? What?
My secret out. No, yeah, I don't care about I don't care about Iran getting a nuke or not.
I'm busting.
No, I know that's all a red herring. What that is, what I see is just another facility that's going to make, all this crap, and it's going to end up creating a problem. It's going to end up literally just putting more garbage on the planet. They don't even know what to do with the stuff that we've already made. You realize that, right? They don't have a permanent.
That's what I'm saying. There's nowhere to go. What are they going to do? So, okay,
of crap they've already made. They don't know where to put it now, and yet.
Okay, so let's just put it all on a rocket and fire it into the sun.
Well, okay.
Just like Superman 4.
I said that. Why don't we just load it on the rockets and fire into the sun? That'd be the best way to do it.
Until the first one crashes because it had a failure. Because somebody took their HARP weapon and blew it up in midair.
Exactly.
And then it just became the world's largest dirty bomb.
That's what Christina said to me. I said, why don't they just put it on rockets and send it to the sun? And she's like, really? SpaceX can't even get one off the ground. And I was like, good point.
Yeah.
Never mind. I don't think I want
wait a minute.
Russians or SpaceX trying to put nukes into the sun. Not until we can figure out how to get things into outer space without it exploding. Should we be putting anything radioactive into a rocket? Just saying.
No. I don't think that would end well at all. Just saying.
Interesting side note on SpaceX, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wigner, remember I talked about it earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I was just...
Oh, how interesting.
Can you imagine if that... I mean, that thing just kind of disintegrated.
But again, how do you prove it?
Well, you'd have to test it. You'd have to actually look at the metal, and then you'd have to check the radiation levels. Here's the problem. It's just like when I made you guys do the Twitter storm before, and I said hashtag test the effing plankton. Well, hashtag test the effing plane parts. Because, I mean, if it was affected by radiation, it would be highly radioactive. And then you'd be able to tell... There's machinery that could tell all that by how fast it decays. And Christina explained all this to me. I don't want to get too technical. I don't want to bore people. The point is they could tell if they really wanted to. But then the government also seized all the machines from all the college campuses that had them and all the people that had them that could actually do the testing. So the only people that could do really I mean, I guess there might be one or two people here in the States, but realistically, the government has that on lockdown. And if they're not testing it, which I'm sure they are, and keeping because they do all of that and they log everything in triplicate, you know that.
Nah.
So I'm sure they've got it logged somewhere.
They overlooked that one,
they
apparently.
Ain't telling anybody. Yeah, that's the only thing they've overlooked, right? Sure.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. I also don't buy that they have the meters off and that they don't know the levels of radiation. They just they treat the American people like a bunch of buffoons because they turn around and go, oh, we'll just raise the acceptable limits. That's cool.
Well, dude, I mean, that's what they did. I remember when it happened in Hawaii. Remember with the milk? And I can't remember what the acceptable limit was, but they raised it by, like say, from 1,000 to 10,000, we'll say. It was something very dramatic. And you're just like, what? I mean, and do people still buy milk? Yeah. You know why? Because, hey, still tastes like milk. They just don't understand the fact that radiation is cumulative. Just like cell phone use. For years, everybody's like, oh, come on, you're crazy. I won't hold them to my head. Why? This is what I work in RF all day long. I know what it does to you. on a physical level, my joints hurt from dealing with radios all day. Now when I'm exposed to a lot of that, like if I'm by a wireless router or something like that, I can feel it in my hands because it's that damage over time. It's cumulative.
Do you know what the levels for the levels that the United States, like for us, for the civilians that they have it set right now? They're from they're basically they're from readings of like what they would take off of a 25-year-old soldier, male soldier, a 25-year-old male soldier, and that's a one-time exposure. So like maybe a bomb went off or something like that, and an exposure like that, not 24/7, 365 exposure, which is what's been going on for 4 years. So they're not even telling you the accurate the levels like you're being told that is acceptable. It's like, what do you say all the time? Where are you getting your base level reading from? Their base level readings are garbage. It's based off of a 25-year-old male soldier with one exposure to high levels of radiation.
Yeah, they really don't even know, dude.
No, they
they do know. But what's
scary part
is different.
No, they know. They know. They tested all this stuff back in the 50s. That's why it's one thing to say they don't know. They totally know. Like the more research I do, they know all of this. They've known about the plankton thing since the 54 or 55. Wigner, they've known about that stuff since the 50s. It's not like they can play, oh, we didn't know that this had an effect. How about all these electronics, all these planes having problems? Airbuses, it's all fly-by-wire. There's no... You and I...
Airbus, that's the dumbest... I will never get on an Airbus ever. If I see I have to get on an Airbus, I'm not doing it.
No.
Because, hello...
When I buy my ticket...
Fail-safe? Whatever happened to the cables, man? Come on.
When I buy my ticket, I always make sure it's a Boeing.
But seriously, okay, is it going to set you back that much to manufacture the airplane with a mechanical failsafe? Just asking. Is that going to break the bank? I mean,
there's only one time I've ever seen evidence that it saved somebody, and it was, I believe it was a hailstorm, right? Where the windshield was peppered with hail and they couldn't see, and the thing that helped them was the Airbus's like automatic pilot and computer system helped them land the plane pretty much without being able to see.
And that's all good.
But the whole no backup if you're...
Exactly. It's like, we're screwed. Let's go for the parachutes. What parachutes?
I'd rather at least give the pilots a fighting chance.
Exactly, man. Let them fly by wire. They have fly by wire right now in the Airbus, but have a mechanical backup. You know what I mean, man? Have the cables and all that stuff. Let them muscle it out. Let them have a chance at least.
Why not have something to back it up? That was when I read that there was no backup system on that. When you and I did a show about that, remember? And I was like,
yeah, it's freaking asinine. I can't believe it. And like I said, how much is what? Let's just say, 5,000 feet of cable, maybe? Is it that much? A couple of levers, pulleys. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, give them a chance.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Even if more metal was there, okay, say it fries the electronics. Even if there's metal there, it affects the metal too. All you need is one of those cables to snap.
Sure.
And aircraft design, people have no idea how crappy these aircraft are designed, by the way. Some of the things that, I mean, and when I say crappy, I mean, yeah, they're marvels of engineering that they fly and all this, and they're huge, and they weigh all this weight and everything else. But, like, some of the things, like, the simplest things, like hydraulic lines, there's no shutoff valves in some of these things. So, like, some of these accidents that have killed hundreds of people is because, in, like, one case, a fin exploded in the tail engine, and the shrapnel of the fin exploding severed hydraulic lines while they were mid-flight, and the plane was doomed. They were screwed because, and they actually landed the plane, and like when it crashed, I think 100 and some odd people were killed, but like half the people survived, and the crew, most of the crew survived, and it was amazing that they were able to pull this off, but it happened because they didn't have shutoff valves in the hydraulic lines. If the hydraulic lines had shutoff valves in the back when they were severed, they wouldn't have lost all the hydraulic fluid, and they wouldn't have lost. You lose your hydraulics, you're done.
Yeah, it's done. Game over.
Yeah, it's game over, dude.
It's game. But see that then there lies the thing. Well, what if I take a seat cushion and put one on each arm and one on each leg, and I try to flying squirrel it?
Yeah,
just saying.
Look, Dude, the last time Christina flew, she showed me pictures of the wing, and it looked like there were stress cracks in the wing. I mean, it's not making it up. It wasn't like, oh, there's hair on the lens. No, like there's literally what they do to planes to make them fly, dude, is quite scary because with the amount of people that fly and how they try to keep things on schedule and everything else. It's like anything else. It's about making money. It's about how much you can transport for as little as cost to the airline. And the less money that they can spend and the more people they can transport, the more money they make. Bottom line. And that's frightening because there's a lot of crap going on already. Like Wigner, you have the radiation. I mean, think about it. These planes, Joe, are flying back and forth, especially going over to like all over to Asia. And there's this huge column of radiation coming out of Fukushima that goes all the way up into the atmosphere.
Yeah, it kind of like radiates out, you know?
Yeah, and they're flying through it. You already get irradiated from flying at high levels.
Sure.
And now they're flying through this plume of radiation. You wonder why flight crews are flipping out and people are flipping out on airplanes. Remember I said it affects people's mental stability earlier?
What about the crew of the Ronald Reagan?
Well, they're all getting sick and dying.
Yeah.
I did a show about that, and it's deplorable. And by the way, if there's anybody that's listening from the Reagan...
And get this.
Email me because I want to interview you.
Get this. Guess what ship is relieving the George Washington in Japan?
The Reagan?
The Reagan's going to Japan.
Yeah, because it's so radioactive, they're probably going to leave it over there.
They're going to leave it over there now.
And that was like the brand new ship, like the pride of the fleet. Their baby. And now they're just going to stick it in Japan, and they're not going to.
Let me tell you something, man. The newest one never goes there. No. Before that, it was the Kitty Hawk. The Kitty Hawk was the oldest and the lone remaining conventional carrier left. And that's normally what goes over there is like, the crap of the crap. And GW is due for its midlife overhaul. So guess what went over there? Oh, the irradiated ship. And I just found that very interesting. That was in Navy Times.
Christina was just informing me that they know, and we've talked about this, but think about this. This is really, for the listeners, you guys need to pay attention to this. Great point, by the way, that they know they can't decontaminate that ship. So that's why they're putting it over in Japan.
That's what I'm saying. It's blatantly obvious if you're following all of this.
And wait, what's even worse is she just said when they power wash the ship, it pushes the radiation deeper into the metal. Instead of because it doesn't dissipate it. So you're pushing those particles because it's pressurized. You're pushing those particles further into the metal and just making it more it's staying there. So
you're just not going to get rid of it. No, you can't.
And then they have Boy Scout troops come and if the thing's in dock, they'll let them sleep on the decks and stuff overnight.
I'm telling you, man.
That's why, dude. That's the pride of the fleet. When they send the pride of the fleet to the furthest port,
that's what they're making it go away.
Yeah, warning, red flag.
Yeah, they're making the problem going away. So they make it go away by putting it over there where the radiation is, and then over time, what they can say is, oh yeah, we didn't know, and now now it's irradiated. It has to operate over in this area, and because they wouldn't even think of scrapping it. I mean, come on, how much is a carrier now?
Dude, and
there's only 11 or 12 of them, so
they just literally built that thing.
It's the latest one,
yeah,
I think.
It is pride of the fleet. Why?
No, I'm sorry. The Gerald Ford is the next.
Yes, the Gerald Ford is the one that they. Okay,
and then they just did the George H.W. Bush.
Right, but why wouldn't the Reagan was one of the? It was like the pride of the fleet. They loved that ship. It was brandy new. Right. Why would you send that to? That doesn't make any sense. They usually
it's the newest operating carrier, right? Yeah,
but unless you realize it's highly radioactive, and they know
because it is, and so you send it over there because it blends right in with the other radiation.
Dude, it's disgusting and abhorrent what they're doing.
I know, man.
And how many people work on an aircraft carrier, Joe? About 5,000.
About 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
When it's with an air det embarked, yeah.
I wonder. People should pay attention to the corpsmen out there. You guys should really pay attention and see who, if you're on board the Reagan, or if you're paying attention, so maybe another corpsman it is on board. Try to compare the numbers between the Reagan.
Hell, get it,
and the George Bush or the Gerald Ford, whatever one is, or even one of the older carriers. try to compare the level of sickness between the people on board the Reagan and the people on board one of the other carriers.
Get an effing Geiger counter, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, it's that simple. They have them on board. They have to.
I don't think that they'll let the corpsman walk around with a Geiger, though.
Dude, CBR, come on. I have to do my maintenance on the Geiger counter.
There you go. See, that's what I would do.
That's what I would do.
I'd pull maintenance and be like,
Oi.
yeah, we just got to make sure everything's working, and then walk down the hallway with it and watch.
Because it'd be in all your DC lockers.
Yeah,
It'd be in every DC locker. So if you're,
a DC shop on board any of those ships that like the Reagan DCs, I mean, the whole ship is contaminated, but I guarantee you the DC's got it.
Oh, no doubt. That's what I'm saying. So just go around and just, calibrate your device.
That would be a good idea.
Just saying.
What are you doing? Yeah, but see, I guarantee, you got to wonder, does the CO has to know that ship's radio? Or do you think that they even sent
Would you knowingly accept that?
I don't know. Yeah,
that duty?
They probably have to lie to him too. Wow.
And does it blend in with the, I mean, it does have 2 reactors. Is there a background or base level radiation that already exists, I don't know. That's the thing is, whew, how do you do it? You'd have to have another carrier that hasn't been in those waters, and then you would have to measure one against the other to see what the difference is.
Which fleet's the one in Asia? What is it, the 6th Fleet?
Yeah, 6th Fleet.
Or is the 6th Fleet in the Persian Gulf?
No, that's the 5th Fleet.
Okay.
7th Fleet is the Mediterranean.
Okay, 7th Fleet's Mediterranean, 6th is...
2nd Fleet is Atlantic.
Okay. Well, then the entire U.S. 6th Fleet is radioactive. Because not only is, the Reagan always has a battle group with it, destroyers and cruisers and all that. Well, Christina just brought up another good point. She said they use them, after they got hit with radiation, they knew they were already irradiated, so they made them go up and down the coast, cruising and taking Geiger counter readings, like taking radiation level readings with Geigers. But
let's see how much we're radiating ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Quick, let's measure it.
They use the ships and the guys on the ships and the women on the ships as Geiger counters, basically.
But Popeye, we didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know. Just like it's okay to breathe the air at ground zero.
Yeah, the air is safe to breathe. Go back to work. Go back to work.
Christy Todd Whitman, former governor of New Jersey. I'm hissing.
I know, man. Mike and Chris Don's coming up next.
Yes. Rundown live, 2 minutes. Well, we have half minutes, and then probably 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes. The Rundown Live boys will be on. Tune into them. Mike and Chris Don do a great show, by the way.
They do.
Yes, they do. They're smart guys. I gotta hang out with them. I haven't chatted with Mike, Chris Don, or anybody. I've been unplugged for a few weeks. It's actually I'm not making that up. You can ask Joe. Even Joe hasn't talked to me in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
when you're busy, you're busy.
But it's refreshing to unplug from the world and just deal with your family.
You sometimes have to do it, man. There's just no way around it, Things pile up too.
Yeah, but honestly, it's nice. It's kind of a relaxing break. You remember why you do what you do and why we put up with what we put up with and why we fight. I can't save the world for everyone, but I can certainly save it for the people I love. So it kind of refreshes you when you get a chance to...
Motivates you.
Yeah, dude. Makes you feel good again. So we need that with what we do. Don't worry, this month's going to be epic. I have a ton of guests on, ladies and gentlemen. I told you all. Super guests. I can't wait to get James Perloff on. I like hanging out with him, dude. He's funny. Because he's super intellectual and smart. And at the same time, you wouldn't expect him to be, as funny as he is. But he is one of the funniest dudes I know. He cracks me up. So
he sure is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I get a chance to hang out with Jim Mars again. Talk to him. And I get a chance to talk to Dave Paulides for the first time. That's going to be an interesting broadcast. People going missing and no one knows where they went, just disappearing.
Wow.
In national parks. Oh yeah, and it's not just in the United States. It's all over the
Sasquatch.
Well, it could be Sasquatch. Could be UFOs. Could be no. I'm not going to speculate. I'm just going to have Dave on and we'll talk about it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time. Joe, thank you for hanging out, dude.
No problemo, man.
Go check out Joe's show if you don't know already, ladies and gentlemen.
Tomorrow night.
He's on Tuesdays, or no, listen to me, Tuesdays. I'm on Tuesdays and Thursdays. He's on Mondays and Wednesdays in the same time slot. All right. We're out of time. As I always tell you, the solutions to our problems are most definitely an inside job, ladies and gentlemen. I love you all, and I believe in you all. Go out and be the superheroes. I know you all are. I'll catch you all again live Thursday. Go ahead, Joe.
And remember, wherever you are, make it TFR.
TFR.
Do not touch that dial.